Okay, guys, sorry about that. There was actually a jogger that I don't think she likes it whenever, like when I'm doing my videos and stuff like that, which I don't really care, but it's just easier just to shut the tape off and start and then continue. And I just decided, since I was so close to home anyway, I decided to wait until I actually got back into my apartment. So I'm actually in my apartment right now, and like I said, like I know I'm pushing it and stuff like that, but you know, um, I am grateful that I was able to tell my story to a few people, and I'm grateful for anybody that listens to it. Um, but I'm also grateful to hear the stories from other people. I mean, I just wish that other people that aren't, I mean, it just goes right to the brain. Like, it's amazing. I was talking to a guy yesterday, and he sees all the benefits that I'm doing. But yet, when I said that I'm only eating right away, oh, that's not good. You can't do that. If it's helping me, why would you condemn it? You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's you first start off saying that I look good and that I'm benefiting. Now you're saying that I'm not doing the right thing. I don't think he meant anything by that or anything, and I didn't really say anything to him to that concept. But so I mean, I'm not, it doesn't faze me any, but it does perplex me a little bit on the concept that, like, why can't people see it? I don't know. But I think the more stories, like I said, the doctors and I my first thing of why I even started even thinking about carnivore, that seed, you know, I mean, that seed that was planted in my brain about carnivore was Dr. Barry. So obviously, I don't have anything against. I don't like. I have nothing against any of these doctors. I respect them, and I even respect doctors that don't believe in it. What I don't respect, though, okay, is if you don't believe in it, fine. If there's a reason why you don't believe in it, if there's something that you notice or something like that. But what I don't respect is that you're not really learning from the mistakes. See, Dr. Ken Berry learned from his mistakes. Dr. Hampton learned from his mistakes. All these doctors, if you listen to them, I would say about 90% of them learned from their mistakes. They learned what they were doing wrong and they corrected it. So I don't have anything against the other doctors. But if you're making the same mistake, if your patients are having the same results and you're doing the same thing and you're prescribing the same medicine, I mean, isn't the definition of insanity to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results? Well, isn't that what most of these doctors are doing? Are they really, really thinking about what they're doing? And the thing is if they have to go with the curriculum, then obviously something's wrong with the curriculum. I'm just saying, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm just a regular guy that is using logic, at least my kind of logic, to see that. I mean, it's not that, people ask me like, why? Well, if carbs cause your blood sugars to go up, if that's the food that causes your sugars to definitely go up. Now, granted, everything has a trace amount of carbs, a trace amount. So yes, my sugars do go up every time I eat the protein and eat the fats, but not nearly as much as a carb does. And they don't stay up nearly as long. All right. So the more carbs I get rid of, the more. Now, what has carbs in it? Obviously, the top part is your cakes, cookies, your snacks, your sugar. Um, they don't just have sugars in them; they have carbs in them. Your cereals, your grains, but also fruits. And fruits also have fructose and sucrose. Okay, but then you also have them in your vegetables. Okay, I have no desire, and to tell you the truth, any vegetables I had, it's not because I love the vegetables, because I felt I had to have it. The only vegetable that I was probably okay with having without being told to have it was probably potatoes, which is pretty common. Potato chips, potato French fries. I love cheese. Used to love cheese fries. Put bacon on it. Um, you know, and I used to love the KFC fries, not the little ones, but the big ones, the potato wedges with great. I used to dip. This is kind of productive, kind of intuitive, I guess you could say, whatever. But I used to take the potato wedges and dip them into mashed potatoes with gravy. So potato and a potato. Talk about crazy. Okay. Um, I don't even do that anymore. I don't do that at all. One, because I haven't seen a potato wedge from KFC in a long time. They've switched to the thin fries. But not only that, but I mean those mashed potatoes, they're not really mashed potatoes. It's basically this powder flake stuff. It's almost like eating soap, okay? Powdered soap for your laundry. But um but the thing is yes, I had these foods even right before I came and did the social media. During the holidays, I had cookies and stuff like that. I didn't have them as often as I did when I first started, but I did have them. And I don't know if I ever mentioned this or not, but I'm gonna give a little clarity. When I was a kid, okay, I I was I was pretty insociable, and a lot of people judged me, just like I feel like they do now sometimes. But as an adult, you don't really care as much. But the thing is when I was overweight as a kid. I wasn't always overweight. I used to be super skinny. But then when I was like about 13, like 12, 13 years old, I got made fun of a lot. Um, because that's just the way kids are and everything. And you learn to deal with it. But the thing is a lot of us, and I think you can relate, a lot of us went to food. And when I was 14, I started working. And I worked for a company called Roy Rogers. Um, and I originally started off at 14 years old, and my job was to cook the chicken. And I would cook the chicken. So a lot of times I'd have food from there. And at that time, I didn't know it wasn't on the radar that I was diabetic. Something tells me though that at the very least a few years later, I probably was diabetic a lot sooner than what was detected because no one tests certain things. And I think they even say if you tested those other things, you probably could have seen the markers coming. But unfortunately, it wasn't until I was until I was 30 before we found out that I was type 2 diabetic. But going back, so I would get my paycheck. I get paid weekly, and it wasn't a huge check, but it was enough for a 14-year-old. And the thing I got with my paycheck was, this is where the depressing part comes in. When I got my paycheck, right after I got my paycheck, I'd cash it. And usually I would be able to cash it at the local 7-Eleven. They had like a cash checking thing that. And, and this is back when, okay, when I was 14. I'm not even going to do the math. I'm 52 now, so um, obviously, many years ago. And I would go to 7-Eleven, and once a week, every night, once a week, sometimes twice, depending on if I got like a little bit more money. Sometimes, like in the summer, you'd work more hours, stuff like that. I would go there at night because it was a 24-hour store. I go there at night, and I would get a whole hoagie. Now, back then, I don't know if you know about 7-Elevens now, but back then they actually made the hoagies right there. They had a slicer and everything. But I would get a whole hoagie, usually just the meat and cheese and maybe mustard. I was never really much on lettuce and stuff like that. Um, just I don't know. If I got it, I usually took it off and had treated it as a salad, but that was very rare. I would get a whole hoagie. Okay, I would get a bag of potato chips. All right, a medium bag, not a small bag, but a medium bag. Or I get two small bags of potato chips. I would get a thing of cheese dip, like either like the squirt cheese or whatever. I get a thing of cheese dip. I would get 6 to 8 little squares. Now they come in like this, like kind of like a tube thing, but there used to be little squares of Laffy Taffy, and I would tell myself it's for the jokes that give me some humor. About 3 candy bars and about 2 to 3 cupcakes, like Hostess and or Drake's or Little Debbie cupcakes. All right, I would get a 3-liter bottle of soda, not a 2 liter, a 3 liter, because it's right around the time 3 liters were that had come out. I would get that every time. Oh, and I might have got and not every time, but most of the time I would get a buttered roll. I would go home with all that, and I'd bring it in my room, and I would eat it every single time. Obviously, it wasn't helping me, but it was a temporary fix. It made me feel better temporarily. I haven't done that in years, thank God. You know, but when I was a kid, you don't realize, and it's not even just people like that. Sometimes people even close to you can get you a little depressed, where they think they're helping you, but they're not. And they call it tough love and stuff like that, but even tough love has to be monitored, so to speak. And you have to be your person that says, you know what, I don't live through them, I live through me. And I'm trying to make myself healthy, and I'm not doing that by eating all this bad food. Now, little did I know that this bad food was the cause of me becoming diabetic. I didn't know that it was like I was slowly tearing myself up, and my health did decline immensely. I mean, if I, like I was asked about if I have any regrets. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, I do. And if I could go back in time to that little boy and try to help him figure out a way to deal with the anxiety and everything, I would. I'd love to do that. But unfortunately, I already know, because I know who that little boy was. I know he probably wouldn't understand. And I know that a stranger's not going to get him to listen. And, so I know even going back in time, it's not going to really change anything. But I am here now. So here's where um, here's what we need to think about. Don't think about what you could have done. Regrets do not help you. Okay? How many of you, and this is not me, but how many of you realize now that this is a better diet and feel a little guilt because you for years got your kids to do the standard American, the SAD diet, or you did the vegetarian diet, and you're realizing that it wasn't necessarily the best diet in the world. It wasn't productive. It did not really sustain health in the way that we all thought it did. But keep in mind, most of our knowledge was misinformation. So why would you feel guilty of relaying information that you were wrongly given in the first place? I can go into detail on that and everything like that. But pretty much, and we're all like I heard one time that, the diet I'm on, it's a cult. Well, not to be mean, but you mean to tell me that some of these other diets, you know, I mean, we've been made to believe that think about the logic here. We've been made to believe, no, it's already been acknowledged that carbs raise blood sugar. It's already been acknowledged that fats help regulate it. Okay, let's not even do protein, just fats and carbs. All right. Not that you don't need protein. I'm just saying in this particular scenario, it's really the fats, that help regulate it, help lower it. And carbs bring it to the roof. Carbs raise it. Now, this is the thing. They want us to take insulin because of the carbs we take. They want us to take carbs so then we're able to take the insulin because we don't want the insulin to bring our sugars down too much. All right. So we need to take insulin so we can eat the carbs. And we need to take the carbs so we can take the insulin. We need to take the insulin so we can take the carbs. We need to take the carbs so we can take the insulin. Are you guys seeing a pattern here? Are you guys seeing how crazy that is? But yet no one sees it. No one sees that piece of logic. It's so simple. Carbs raise the blood sugar. So why would the carnivore diet be bad if it's pretty much zero carbs? Yes, with a few trace carbs here and there. But in comparison, why would this diet be bad? Is it cholesterol? Well, I'm hearing things about most of the stuff that was found out about cholesterol was a falsehood. Okay? I mean, I don't know if I'm getting my facts straight or not, but look at the document. I forget what the documentary is. I'm sorry. I'm very bad with. But there's a gentleman that was in Time magazine and everything like that, and he's the one who started off with the saturated fats. His name was Ansel Keys, very famous guy, very popular, but he fudged his studies. He made us all believe. He did a thing called the 7-country study, and he made us believe that because of those 7 countries, that he proved that saturated fat caused heart damage, that cholesterol caused heart problems. Okay? He proved it. So we thought. Ends up that later on, he actually studied 23 different countries, but only 7 of them proved his point. Only 7 of them proved his point. But he did not he decided not to show the other ones. But yet we all believe in this concept. Now again, I don't understand the microbiome and stuff like that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. But I understand what I understand. And the thing is, if somebody tells me something that I find out is not true, and it's based on a lie, do you really think I'm going to, that's a huge lie. That lie, think about it. No, because of that, people stopped eating meat. People stopped having fat. People stopped doing this. In the meantime, it's that stuff that's actually healing, and we're getting rid of it in our bodies. We need we need the fats to heal. We need the fats to be good. You may not see it, but we do. Saturated fats are not our enemy as we think it is. All right? I've been eating meat for a long time. This is the first time I've become very strict. And actually, now I've been strict all along. I just would go on it for quite a while, then I go off it. And usually because of holidays, usually because of different things. But if you really want to get technical, I've probably been carnivore for almost a couple of years. But I didn't count myself as being carnivore until I joined some memberships. Because I think it's the memberships that will help you stay on track. I might end up having stuff when I go to my sister's. I don't know. I can't predict that. I can't predict the future. But I do know that the little bitty days that I'm tempted, I'm not tempted. As it's like my temptation is gone from like 50%. Well, originally it was 100%. Then it went down to 50. Now it's like more like 5. Like not even 5. Okay. I go into the candy store, I look, and I'm not tempted because I have people that I talk to. I have people that can relate to what I'm doing. And that's all it is. That's what it really is. It's not just about eating meat. It's not about it's not about what food you get rid of and what foods that you keep. It's about the community. Now, yes, you're going to have some people that are super diehard, and you have to measure on that concept of how far do I need it to go? And you got to do you. You got to do you. We all have our things, our speaks, our spiels, whatever you want to call it. And I've tried different things. Right now I'm trying the priming. And there's still issues that I have, but I am feeling much better. Even from when I first did my videos, I feel a lot better. But you also got to recognize that this is a journey and that the destination, well, let's face facts. There's 2 definites. Well, there's one definite, that eventually we all do die. And I think that, as sad as this is, Now, keep in mind, I'm saying this. I think eventually we all do die. Obviously, no one can live forever. And I think that that's our final destination. But how long we're here, when that destination hits, and where we're at when it hits, is our journey. And I personally don't want to be this person that ends up in a wheelchair. I don't want to be this person that has to use a walker. I did that. I don't want to do it again. I don't want to have to be in a rehab. I want my mind to still be functional. I just want it to be like I'm a robot. I know it sounds like a bad thing to say, but I just want it to be like I'm a robot and that my battery just ran out. But while it was working, I was doing great. You know? And right now, I'm a rusty robot. But you know what? About a year ago, I was a non-functioning rusty robot. I at least was able to figure out the lubricant to get me to move. I was able to figure things out. But can I get myself all nice and shiny? Yes. The answer is yes. You know? It's like C3PO, in Star Wars. He was like all banged up and everything like that, and then all of a sudden he's like shined up and he's like polished, and that's what I'm looking for now. I'm just looking to I'm looking to fix myself, you know? So many things I noticed when I was running. One, yeah, I lost a lot of weight, but I still got a lot more weight to lose. But you know what? I'm not focused on the weight. I know that the weight will come off if I'm meant to have it come off. And I do believe that I'm not meant, I where I get to, I don't know. But this is about healing the damages that were brought to my body. That's what this is about. And this is about that for most of you. And to go back to what I was saying, that's why I love to be able to do lives, to be able to communicate with people. But it's not about learning about what you know necessarily. We all know little bits and pieces. And yeah, I would love to get that information to teach people. But it's also about the story. It's about the story that we tell. I hope that this resonated in a lot of you. I love to hear comments, hopefully positive ones, or at least constructive criticisms if had to be. This video is not about me. It's about everybody. And like I said, I didn't show any pictures. All right, because there's too many that I had mentioned. But I do believe that we are the architects of our own life. And like Dr. Kilt says, that we are our own gods, basically. That we are our own selves, and we are the influencers in our lives. Now, I didn't quote him exactly, but you get the point. You get the point. And shout out again to all these gurus and everything like that. But for people that do have YouTube channels, tell your story. Now, obviously, we can't look at every story. We can't look at every time. But if you can subscribe to a channel just to give them a little bit of push, do so. And if you can occasionally watch their videos, great. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I can't see. I don't. I can't really. I subscribe to a lot of people, and when I can, I will watch videos. If something pops up, I'll take a look at it. Okay, but I don't always have time to see. I mean, like this thing is like growing so much. But if I can pop up, if there's a new video that pops up in my notifications, I will usually try to watch it. I will usually try to watch it. I'm not gonna lie. I try to watch it. Sometimes I don't succeed because of the different things that happen, but I will try to watch it. And I don't expect anybody to fully watch everything I do. But the ones that can, the ones that do, or when you can, or when you do, I am super grateful. And I thank you guys for that. All right? I am eternally grateful for this. But the thing is I'm starting to run out of ideas. And that's one of the reasons why I want to do it live, because I figure the lives, yeah, you still have to have the idea, but I think it can kind of grow in its own cocoon, if you know what I mean. So that being said, shout out again. Like I said, I'm not doing any pictures, and I'm not doing but shout out to Booby Goats. She's going to be doing a live at some point. At least that's what she said. Depends on, I guess, her little girl. Um, but I, I'm going to do my best to watch it. You know, uh, this is Target Prime Rib. Over and out.